This is Lorena from Synergy Behavior Solutions, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about some of the basic skills and gear and some ways that you can hold the leash when walking a reactive dog. I opted to do my live out here because I want to show what it's like a little bit just working with a reactive dog in everyday life. This is Yoshi, and she's hanging out on her boundary. Unfortunately, there's some mowing happening in the yard next door, so if you can't hear me, please let me know. I'm going to try and project, which I'm usually pretty good at, and you should be okay to hear me, but if not, please let me know in the comments. Thanks for being here. So, when we're walking a reactive dog, and when I say reactive dog, I'm talking about a dog that lunges and barks at things on walks. Nice. So that might be like other dogs, maybe sometimes it's people, bicycles, squirrels, whatever it might be. So really it's just a dog being a dog, but we tend to have this overarching label of reactive dog, which I think that we all kind of know what it means. And so if you have a reactive dog, you probably are aware of how different your walks might feel from that neighbor or friend that you have that has the chill, calm dog that they were blessed with. And so I also think that reactive dogs are a blessing because of what they can teach us. And so one of the things that I find with a lot of my clients and with myself when I'm walking a dog that tends to lunge and bark is that we become kind of reactive ourselves. So we become hyper vigilant, we scan the environment a lot, we're tense, we have a lot of like those dread type thoughts, we're looking for triggers all of the time, maybe we see a trigger and we tense up, tighten up on the lead. All of these are perfectly normal physiological reactions to stress. But they also absolutely contribute to our dog's level of stress on those walks. And so if our dog can sense that we are stressed out, which is not some woo-woo sense, dogs can smell our anxiety, they can feel it in their body and in our body, they can see it in the way that we're scanning the environment. If we don't feel safe, then our dogs are not going to feel safe either. We're definitely teaching them that that their worry is justified. And so one of the things that I think about is how can I set up my walks to be as calm and relaxed for me as possible so that I can start building calm walks for my dog. So a few things that to think about is comfort. And so I really mean that in terms of like, how can we have a physically comfortable walk for us and for the dog? So obviously this idea of having a comfortable walk for our dog means that we're not using aversive tools on walks. Hi, Kristen. Who else is here? Let me see really quick. Well, say hi, please, if you're watching. It's nice to have you here. So one of the things is we don't use aversive tools. So we're going to make sure that we're walking our dog on a harness, maybe a head collar in certain situations. I recommend consulting with a behaviorist or trainer before you use one of those on your dogs. Nice. She's still working on her reactivity also, so I'll be rewarding her throughout this talk as she relaxes calmly on her bed while there's distractions around. So, there it is. Good girl. So in terms of comfort, my dog wears a harness when she walks, and I'm also pretty careful about the type of harness that my dog wears. I really like to have harnesses that that have this nice Y shape right here at the chest, rather than the ones that go straight across the chest. Sometimes those are called like no-pull harnesses. I think they're okay, but they're pretty, they restrict our dog's shoulder movement. Good girl. And we want to make sure our dogs have full range of motion and don't feel trapped or restricted in any way. So I really like the Y-shaped harnesses. The other thing that I really look for in a harness is that there is a front, so a chest, and a back clip. So I really like to have both options, front and back clip for the harnesses that I use for any dog, but definitely for my reactive dogs, especially if they're large. Like Yoshi is 80 pounds, and I don't weigh that much more than her, and so I need to make sure that I can have full control of my dog if we encounter a situation that she's not equipped to handle and we kind of have a bit of a kickoff. Because even if you are working really hard and diligently and using positive reinforcement and trying to work through your dog's reactivity, stuff happens. Our dogs lunge and bark sometimes. The dog appears out of nowhere, the dog rushes the fence, the kid jumps off, out of a car, whatever happens, and our dogs are startled. So we need to make sure that we can properly and safely manage those situations. So front and back clip. That said, I am not endorsing any specific products right now. I'm just talking about the different tools that I like to use and the way that they would look. So here's another example. This is the harness that Yoshi uses during her sport training. And again, it also has a front and a back clip. So that's what I'm always looking for with those harnesses. The other thing that I really look for is thinking about how do I want to attach the dog to me. And so using just a regular 6-foot leash is generally my preference, but I make sure that these leashes are relatively adjustable and they actually have 2 clips. So I really like leashes that are double-ended, and I actually do attach both the front and back clip when I'm going for a regular neighborhood walk, especially with this dog. That gives me really great control. It makes sure that I'm not putting myself in a situation where she can really put all of her force into any kind of barking, lunging reaction she might have. And I like to be able to have the versatility of swapping back and forth. So like this leash, for instance, has clips on both sides, but I can also really easily clip it into a standard 6-foot lead. Here's another example of that. This one has a ton of different options in terms of double-ended clips and with like multiple loops, etc. Feel free to ask in the comments specifically what products I'm pulling up, and I'm happy to share some of those with you, but I'm not going to put them in the video. One other thing that can be really useful, especially if you have a dog that is particularly large and powerful and maybe particularly reactive, is a waist leash. So using 2 leashes on your walk is not a bad idea at all. And so sometimes, if I'm doing sports with Yoshi, nice, I sometimes will attach the waist leash to me, and this will be on her back clip. And this is like a fail-safe. If my hand slips or if I get jerked forward, she is still attached to me. And that's going to come in handy in just a moment when I talk about how we're going to hold the leash when we're walking our reactive dogs. One other thing that I really like to use, and I actually haven't really seen other people doing this, but it's something that really has boosted my confidence when walking my really powerful reactive dog, is what I call just like a tagline. So this is just a handle. I think sometimes it's called a traffic lead, which I don't like that term because I would never walk my dog solely on this. But this is about like 16 inches or so, and this is like if I really need to have her close to me and I want to hold on to her, this is just dangling from her back. So if you have a larger dog, I really like this as an option. Another example is this waist leash actually has that. So if I clip this to the back clip of her harness, I can easily grab and hold on to her if I just need to do some damage control, if a situation has kind of escalated to a point that I just need to wait it out, which really does happen sometimes. It's okay if your reactive dog has a hard time on a walk. We just need to make sure that we're recovering from that, and we need to make sure that we have a plan in place to prevent it from happening again. But the reality is that if you have a large dog and you're going out and working with it, things aren't always going to be hunky-dory, rainbows and unicorns and sunshine. So, that said, I also want to talk about how we hold the leash. I am getting a notification that my phone is getting really hot, which is super weird because it is not really sunny right now. But hopefully I will stay on for the next 7 minutes to finish my talk. So, there are a lot of different behaviorists and aggression experts who recommend different ways, definitely gonna feed her for that, who recommend different ways of holding the leash. This is the way that works well for me and for the clients that I work with, and of course it depends on your physical ability and your comfort. So when I walk my dog, I make sure that I am determining which part of the harness I'm attached to, depending on the level of risk in the environment. So I usually have both of these attached if I'm walking down a street or sidewalk where I might come in close contact quickly with another dog. But if I'm out in a field, I might just have it on her back clip. I'm going to show you. Nice. The dog barking in the distance, going to feed her for that. Training is 24/7. Nice. And so the way that I like to hold the leash is I will hang it on my wrist like this and then grip like that. So here we're actually creating a bit of a slip knot. And if you grip here, you can grip with very little force, like I'm barely making a fist at all. This leash is not coming off my hand. Nice. It is not. However, if I want it to, all I need to do is open my hand and it will slide right off. That is for my safety. If something happens where I need to let go of my dog, or I'm gonna get a broken wrist or a dislocated shoulder, I'm not gonna take that risk. So I can easily let go if I need to. This protects me, and I think it protects my dog ultimately. And the one thing that I see really often that I please beg of you not to do is please do not wrap the leash around your wrist and around your palm. It's super unsafe for you, and also it enforces this really great fist situation where you're holding really tightly and your whole body is tensed, and often your arm is like this, like you're about to punch somebody. And I will say that the average reactive dog I see is walking down the street like they're about to punch somebody, and I highly recommend you do not take on that stance as well. So, what this does is this allows us a really simple and easy way to grip the leash that gives us maximum control. Even if our dog is kicking off at the end of the lead and we're trying to recover from a stressful situation, my dog is not getting out of there. So, that said, I also want to talk a little bit about body positioning before I check out. So, lots of people walk their dogs like this. I am not a fan. That is not how I suggest you walk a dog, especially a reactive dog, and also, like, everybody has their own way of doing things. This is what works for me, and for the dogs that I work with. So, let's see if I can. So, when I'm walking Yoshi, my arm is completely relaxed against my side. Completely relaxed. So, the other hand is what collects the slack if I need it to. So she has all of these choices that she can make. She has about 4.5 feet, 5 feet of choices that she can make within reason in order to start building and reinforcing the behaviors that I want to see in my reactive dog. I'm not going to hold her like this because this is a really great way to look like I'm about to take off running or punch somebody, and it just builds tension in our body. The other thing that it does is that it messes with our center of gravity. So if my dog were to pull me all of a sudden or to lunge and bark, I'm going to get pulled forward, and she has all of that extra space, and now I'm not balanced. But, interesting piece of information. So I'm also a rock climber, and I know, and if you are a climber or if you do any weightlifting or anything, you know that most of your strength, like ability to hold things, comes from your skeleton. So when you're climbing, you hang with straight arms. You don't bend your arms to hang because our biceps are not very strong. So if we try and use our biceps to control our reactive dogs, we're going to get exhausted and we're going to get stressed because we know we can't hold that for very long, no matter how many pull-ups you can do. But with a straight arm and a relaxed body and a what I call athletic stance, like this, we can actually hold for quite a bit, and we're making sure that our center of gravity is over our hips. So I highly recommend this leash grip, relaxed arm, keep it chill. Your other hand is what collects that slack so your dog doesn't step on it. I kind of want to do a little bit of seeing if Yoshi can walk around within the frame here. Break. So you'll see, she's well boundary trained. So you'll see if I'm walking around, I get to collect the slack here if I need to. Break. I can also switch hands if I need to. I can also gather the slack up in this hand, and now I have a shorter lead, and I can still keep my arm straight. I don't need to do this. Make sense? Hi, good girl. Hop it up. So, one other thing that I want to discuss, and I don't have a lunging barking dog right now, so I can't demonstrate exactly what that looks like. However, if you're interested in learning more about these skills, it's just a very cursory scratching of the surface. Nice. For working with these dogs, especially the ones that it can be a dangerous situation if this dog is lunging and barking. It can be dangerous for me and my physical body. It can be dangerous for other dogs around. And so if you're interested in learning more about that, I have a seminar coming up. It's a 2-part seminar. It starts with a lecture webinar. It's called Reactive to Proactive. I'll give you a bunch of skills. You'll be watching a lot of videos of me interacting with dogs in the real world and using these skills in order to do that and work through reactivity. And then you will have a week to practice some of that and maybe even take some video, come up with some questions, and then we'll do a Q&A and a coaching session the following week. Good girl. And if you're interested in learning the full realm of foundational reactive rover skills, we are offering a reactive rover online class that starts up next week, I think. I believe it's Tuesday evenings. This is reactive rover. It's going to be 4 weeks. We're doing an online sort of just like homework-based sort of thing, and had pretty good reviews for our last session. Oh my gosh, good job. And so, lay down. And so we'd love to have you there. Nice. All of these skills will be discussed, as well as going deeper into how we can use our bodies and our intentions to create calm walks. And usually the techniques that I use, you can see results pretty quickly. with your own dog. And it's one of my favorite topics. I really enjoy geeking out on it and would love to have you there. So please check out our website. We also have all of these, a little better now. We have all of these listed on our Facebook events page. So please check out Reactive Rover, Reactive to Proactive, and then I also have a Wild Pups class. So for dogs that are working or that are working or high energy breeds, different sports, and sort of like a sampler platter of different activities that you can do with your dog that isn't just playing fetch for 4 hours until they pass out.